Hey, today I've got something extremely unique. Philly cheesesteak, bacon wrapped fatty. That's right. We're going to take the traditional fatty. We're going to put in there some provolone cheese, onions, green peppers, and a ribeye. It's going to be awesome. Let's get this cook going. I've got one green bell pepper. I've de-seeded it, cut it in half. We're just going to slice it into thin strips. You can't have a Philly cheesesteak without some green peppers. And here I've got a Vidalia onion. Vidalias are the absolute best. Sweet, mild, don't make you cry. Same thing here. Cut really thin slices. Now here what I'm going to do is just split them down the middle so we have those nice slices. And then I've got some mushrooms. Some of you like the mushrooms on your Philly cheesesteak. Some of you don't. We do. Just going to chop these up coarsely. And now we've got all of our veggies prepped up. Let's move on to the next step. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Philly cheese is steak. Problem solved. This is a little over 1 pound ribeye from Publix. I'm just going to slice it in very thin pieces. Now our steak's all sliced up. Let's get on to our bacon weave. Got 7 pieces of bacon here. And if you're not a bacon expert, that's exactly half of a pound. You've seen this drill, right? Where we make a weave. There are a million videos on this. If you haven't, it takes about 5 minutes if you've not made bacon weaves. But you just alternate the way you put the pieces on, and it ends up making a nice tight weave. And you keep doing this until you put the other 7 pieces on. Right? Rotating it, or alternating it, I guess is the word, not rotating it. We almost got her done here. We're down to the last 2 pieces. I just, seems like every time I make one of these, it just takes me back to when I first started barbecuing out. It's always a real fun way to make something. And there you have our weave. Now let me show you the next step. Now I've spread 1 pound of ground chuck over this bacon weave, and I also added a salt, pepper, garlic seasoning. Hey, you can make up your own. You can use a barbecue rub. Have some fun with it. Now we're going to spread out some of our thinly cut ribeye slices. Now you can see it's not going to take that whole ribeye, right? And you can decide here how much you put on. If you've seen me make fatties before, I have a few on my channel. I always put a little bit too much. And now we're going to come in a little bit of those mushrooms. And you know it. Some of those green peppers. And I know, you're out there watching, you're saying he's putting too much on there. And you know what? You're right. But I do this every time. Next, we're going to lay on some of those Vidalia onions. Now we're coming in with provolone cheese. And I don't like to use smoked with this. We're going to get plenty of smoke during the cooking process. There's 3, 4. Now, I don't think you can have too much. 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see I've got the paper in between each piece. You know this is going to be so challenging to roll up, right? 9, 10. Now let's try to roll this guy up. You can see I put it on this parchment paper. This is probably the trickiest part of this recipe, is getting this guy rolled up. Especially when you put too much stuffing in it, like I do every single time. But I will tell you one thing, These things end up tasting good every single time. And then what you want to do down here, just tuck all your bacon up under the edges. You can use toothpicks if you so choose. You just want to try to minimize how much of your goodies come out while you're cooking it. Now what I like to do is come in and season it one more time. We're going to use that same Boar's Night Out, White Lightning, salt, pepper, garlic. Like I said earlier, you don't have to have this. It'll be just fine if you don't. You can use your favorite barbecue rub if you want to get some color. I tell you, there's just goodness going on everywhere here. Let me get this backside. We'll get over to our grill, our smoker. We've got some Applewood here we're going to spread around. I get asked often what kind of wood to use. You can never go wrong with Applewood. Then I'm going to put the plate setter in. We want to cook indirect, so if you're putting this in a pellet grill, just put it on the opposite end of where your fire cup is. Let's get our fatty on here and get the lid down. You can see here we're running around 275 degrees. 250 to 275 is perfect for this recipe. I turned this fatty once. It's been about an hour and a half. We're getting close to the temp we want to be. Look, pick your favorite barbecue sauce. If you're one of those people that likes to make barbecue sauce, go for it. This will just add a little sweetness, a little color to the outside. I'm going to put this barbecue sauce on it. We'll let it sit, maybe cook 10 more minutes, thereabouts, and it'll be ready. I like to cook these to about 165. Now I know some people will cook theirs a little bit less, but when it comes to ground beef, I just like to be safe. And finally, what we're going to do on top of that barbecue sauce, we're going to come back in with some of that same cheese. How about that? Going to let that melt down on there. And then I've got some candied jalapenos, right? You need jalapenos for this, don't you think? This is going to be a Philly cheesesteak to die for. Now let's get this lid back down, let everything finish cooking. Hey, it's been about 10 more minutes. Our cheese is all melty. We're going to get our fatty off here. Let it cool down. Do a taste test. Now while she's going to cool down here, I'm just going to put a little of my favorite hot sauce across it. And now, you know, we got to have some Duke's mayonnaise here, right? Hot sauce, Duke's mayonnaise. Let's let it cool down. Get ready for our sandwich. Look at that gooey cheese, smoke ring. Look at the juice. I can't wait to make this sandwich up and give it a taste test. You can see we got us a Philly cheese bun. And then I'm going to come back in. Just do a little bit more of that Duke's mayo. A little bit more of that hot sauce. Let's give her a bite. All right, it's messy, but it's awesome. You get a smoke flavor. You get that ribeye, green peppers and cheese, and it's all wrapped up in burger and bacon. It's absolutely awesome. It's got just a minor kick from that hot sauce and those jalapenos. You don't want to kick, leave that part off. You definitely got to try this recipe. Check out my other fatty recipes down below.